Hi, it's What If Wednesday time with Susan Bennett Fisher and Martin Fisher, the co-founders of Body of Nine.
What if you use your curiosity more actively?
What does curiosity even mean to you?
Curiosity is one of those words that's actually got a little bit of a different definition based off your natural number and certainly based off of the situation you're in the current moment.
And the occasion you're using it in. Curiosity is actually a very powerful tool to both understand what's going on, calm yourself down, remove fear, and help you move forward.
And build relationship.
Yes.
It turns out when we're genuinely curious about other people, they feel seen and heard. So it's a wonderful skill, and it's one of the 9 practices for presence is using curiosity. And I like to combine wonder and awe with curiosity because it gives it that childlike quality that, when you add wonder and awe to curiosity, all of a sudden you're like, wow, that is amazing. So instead of just being curious for the sake of being curious, you are curious for the sake of building a new picture.
Yes.
With the information in front of you.
So the underlying message here is that curiosity, wonder, and awe are amazing tools to use, providing you're being genuine. Going up to someone and saying, hi, how are you doing, because you don't really care, is not as effective and in fact can be actually a turn-off for some people. One of the things that different cultures have is different ways of greeting, for example. And you go to England perhaps and you say, oh, how are you doing? And maybe you don't want to know the answer. But actually, if you meant, how are you doing? You'd be amazed at how easy it is to build a relationship. So curiosity, trying to understand the people around you, trying to understand your circumstances can be really, really useful.
Yes. Also, curiosity is great when you're having an argument.
What do you mean?
If you use curiosity to truly understand the other person's perspective, you can get a whole different view on what they're saying. So often we put our own beliefs onto other people. We put our own lens onto other people's behaviors. And curiosity comes in super handy. With Martin and I, for example, if he gets condescending with me, I get curious about what I've done to upset him. Because normally from a 5, if they're being condescending with you, you've hurt their feelings.
So, first question for everyone out there that's done any sort of training at all about how to be in a relationship. What is the first part of that being able to be curious? The answer is listening. You have to listen to be able to hear, to be able to be curious about what's going on.
Yes, and there's that reflective listening, that reflective curiosity. Yeah. So you can extend that into your curiosity, like, oh, so what did you work on today, Martin?
Well, I've been working on a bunch of stuff for our back end, which has been awfully exciting. Whole new things to help us support our partners and in the partnerships and the affiliates and all the people we're working with together. So it's been a great part of me building my interactive relationship between the parts of my programming, as it turns out.
So when I talk to Martin, I ask him questions, and it helps him to actually understand what he's done, what he's doing, and what he needs to do next. Oftentimes he'll come to me when he's stuck and just be with my energy, my curiosity, and my forward movement. And together we get him unstuck. And then he can go back out and work till the next time you get stuck.
And that's a great example of Susan being curious. But Susan and Martin being curious together is how we got with Body of Nine.
It's really true.
We started with curiosity about, well, when we were first told about the natural number, if you will, my first thought was, wow, if that's true, that's amazing. So I got really curious. And as a 5, my curiosity follows a somewhat meandering path sometimes. It's very much driven by the signs and what feels most alive, my intuition driving me, if you will. Sometimes my curiosity is sated by things that I've actually set up a long time in the past. I have books, and I think many 5s do, that I've never read, but I know that one day I will when it becomes appropriate. And that's an amazing gift. So curiosity turns up many ways, and it is a real driver for our lives, at least.
Well, curiosity is at the back of everything that we do in our work, because if we lost our curiosity, we might assume that we know what we need to know about the Body of Nine and the 9 numbers. And
no.
we know that we
know a lot.
We know that that's an endless amount of information.
We know we don't know everything at all.
It's not a fixed reality about human beings. And always getting curious into, what's your natural number? What's your nurture? What's your life experiences? Curiosity is a wonderful way of helping you weed through those things so you can understand what's true to your nature, what comes from what's happened to you from the people that have cared for you, and what's happened in your life experience. Because in order to truly understand your belief systems, you have to actually know the difference between those things. So curiosity is super valuable for that very first step of learning to observe that we talked about in our Body of Nine Practices for Presence book. First, you start by getting identified, turning on your observer, and then curiosity is one of the first skills that you bring in order to begin to learn about yourself, about others, about knowledge, about experience. When approached with curiosity combined with wonder and awe, new things happen.
And the more wonder and awe that you plug into your curiosity, the flavor of the curiosity, the way that you approach things, the more that you can be amazed at the magic that's in the world. The world is a magnificent place. Yes, it's not easy. Yes, there's all the things that go on that make life day to day kind of interesting at times. But the magic and awe of a rainbow. You look at a rainbow and say, wow, that's beautiful. What does it mean? Is there gold at the end of the rainbow? Why is there a rainbow at all? Is there a second rainbow? Do they reflect? What happens when the sun hits the snowflakes in a certain way? There are tons of questions about the smallest thing. And most of the time, perhaps not your thing. You don't really care about why a rainbow is so amazing. Why does it have such an emotional appeal, perhaps? Why does a smell remind you of things?
And that always reminds me not to shut down somebody else's curiosity just because you're not very interested. I mean, sometimes he'll be going on and on like something like a rainbow. I'm like, Jesus Christ, Martin, what are we, like why? But it always leads us somewhere.
Yes.
And the wonder and the awe, if I can be wondering in awe-filled of Martin, then I am less likely to shut him down. I'm more likely to be there when he actually has whatever insight he's being curious about how he's getting there, following his path.
And then we actually can work together. If you are in wonder and awe of what somebody's saying and their curiosity, maybe they're taking you on a journey. Maybe you're at the end of that journey. Maybe there's just interactions between people. And your own curiosity and the individual's curiosity is, I think, really important for an individual's path. But there's group curiosity. There's curiosity about the bigger things. There are arguments you can make. Should mankind be curious about space? Yeah, maybe yes, maybe no. Practically, no. The money can be well used for better things. But curiosity, wonder and awe, are there bigger things than life?
And what gets created as a result of that curiosity? Yeah. It helps you keep a beginner's mind. One of the challenges we have, especially as we age, we get less flexible and less curious, and we think we know what we need to know, and that is just a dangerous, slippery slope.
Yes.
Holding your world and your life with wonder and awe keeps you open to new things, new information, new ways of being, new possibilities that you might otherwise shut yourself off to. I see that a lot in some of our friends. It's like as we get into our 60s and 70s and 80s, it's harder to learn new things, and without keeping curiosity, wonder, and awe alive, aging gets a lot harder because you become stiff and inflexible, and that's a much more challenging state than staying supple and curious.
So if you find yourself in a place, and we've talked about burnout a little bit, we've talked about a number of these things, and we'll spend the next few months going over some of the other amazing things that we've discovered in our books. But if you're stuck, that's the great time to start being actively curious. Yeah,
or you're irritated.
Yes.
By somebody else. That's another really good time to
Or
start
a situation.
Or a situation. Or you're frustrated. Like, what's behind the frustration? So once again, our emotions are always informing us, and curiosity about our emotions can reveal new and magical insights. If you're feeling stuck in a rut, get curious about, whoa, what in the rut could I change? Mm-hmm. What's in here? What's new? What's actually alive in my rut?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you can look for, with curiosity, wonder, and awe, you can look for things that you would otherwise miss.
Mm-hmm. Yes. What is my body telling me? Actually, the trick, and it's a mind trick, if you will, of not disbelieving.
It's a choice.
It's a choice. And if you don't disbelieve, and you start being curious with awe and amazement about the amazing, beautiful magic that your body can do, it's speaking to you all the time. The world is speaking to you 9 different frequencies, and the more natural numbers you have active, the more you can hear. But the information is there, And if you're not curious, you're not going to hear.
No, you're going to miss all this cool stuff.
Mm-hmm. If you hear a train whistle and you're about to cross a train track, perhaps you should be curious because there might be a train coming.
Yes, and that could be a figurative or a real train or a figurative train,
Yes.
right? The universe sends us messages all the time, and they come in various forms. You talk about the law of attraction. Okay, so if I state my intentions, I put them into the universal field, and then I close off to the way the universe gave it. If I don't keep my curiosity open, I actually might miss the signals. Yeah. I might miss the gift. I might miss the rearrangement of energy that the universe went to a lot of trouble to make to get my intention manifested. So really, curiosity applies in so many aspects of how we interact with the universal energy, with each other, with our work, with ourselves. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, curiosity is scary sometimes, and we'll talk about courage next time, but the messages are there. And the first step to hearing anything, and the first step to expanding, the first step to growing, the first step to the next step.
Whatever's next for you.
Is going to be driven perhaps by curiosity.
And this is, if we want to talk about which of the natural numbers are really helpful with this 7. 7s are among the most curious out there, and they will take you down paths if you want to have a conversation about what's possible. Find yourself a 7. Those are people with the third eye active, infinite quality in their eyes, and they ask the right questions for us to elicit curiosity in our being, to open to change and to create a space for possibilities we don't yet imagine. 5s are also really good with curiosity. 5s.
Are there exercises people could do to start expanding their curiosity? Is there a sort of a what-if statement? How can our audience become more curious?
Did you have something in mind?
I was thinking showing them maybe how to get to be a little bit of 7.
Yeah, we could do, so just applying curiosity. Curiosity is very important when you're learning to activate any of the natural numbers. 7 is a state of openness. Mm-hmm. So it's a natural state of cosmic level curiosity.
Cosmic curiosity, yes.
Cosmic curiosity. And if you wanted to try opening your third eye area to cosmic curiosity, you could sit on your sits bones. I often put my elbows on my knees just to support, and then you tuck your chin in. You bring your focus to your forehead, and take your eyes and look up towards your forehead inside your skull. So you're focusing on the area just behind what's called the glabella. The little flat area is the glabella. And when you first start doing 7, you may get a lot of thoughts. But over time, you get emptiness, stillness, a space. And you can't actually force the messages to come. You have to create the space for the message to come.
And then you have to not disbelieve the strange messages you may get. Don't expect them to be in a particular form. Give your body permission to not disbelieve. And if you want to just pick one to examine, go for it.
Now, in service of the space and time here, take as much time as you want to do that exercise. You can see how our eyes change. They're much more infinite quality to them, are more focus in our foreheads. And so our bodies respond to the actions, and just getting curious about the difference in the response to your normal way of being. I'm not quite shaking my 7. It's like, whoa, what's going on here?
If now you've been listening to this podcast for a few minutes and you're thinking, well, but no, Martin, I'm not curious. Why would I be curious? There's nothing to be curious about. I know everything. I've got a controversial thing to tell you. If you're not curious, you can't change. It's painful sometimes to be curious. It's painful to listen to the messages. But the rewards are fantastic.
Yes, they are. They are fantastic. The rewards of curiosity are unimaginable because they come at the other side of that inquiry.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? What is true there? What is going on? What do I not know about that? And so that beginner's mind, that wonder and awe, and that curiosity presents new, open, real realities that you might not have otherwise been open to.
And one of the fun things about curiosity, it comes at almost no cost. There is no downside for curiosity.
Nope, there really isn't.
The only downside might be you grow. And that
Well, yeah.
probably not a downside, honestly.
Nope, probably not a downside. No, it may not feel good in the moment, but you can choose to ignore what you just got curious about if you want
Absolutely.
to,
Yeah, so if you really want
The
to...
universe doesn't usually let us do that
No,
either,
it doesn't, does it? But if you want to get fit, you're going to go to the gym. If you want to grow, curiosity. It may be easy. You're going to learn all sorts of fun things. Some things you might like, some things you might not like. You don't have to accept everything you learn. You don't have to do anything more than acknowledge and appreciate and be grateful for the things that you learn. But curiosity.
Yes. So if we were going to have a conversation with our loved one, that's a beautiful time to use curiosity. I have a habit with my beautiful mother, who I love very much, to put her questions, her behaviors, her things into old buckets from my childhood, which causes me to be judgmental and irritated by my mother, which is pretty normal response we often have to our mothers because they've been around a long time and they've been in that role. And so the other thing I find that it really does is increases my tolerance. And it lets me actually hear her beauty and her joy and her wonder and her sadness and all the things that come with it. And so it makes me very grateful that I can allow people to change by being curious. So I can have a new relationship that I didn't know was necessarily possible.
And if you want to build a relationship with somebody, asking them about themselves, being curious about them without judgment.
Yeah, genuinely curious.
And then it goes all the way back around. Genuine curiosity is, I think, one of the simplest, most powerful ways to improve one's life.
Yes. And another thing you can do if you have an aging parent that tells the same story over and over again, get curious about that story. If you've heard the story already, well, what does that story mean to you? You know, why is that important? How did you feel in that moment? You can learn so much about a person when you start to dig into what they do, especially what they do over and over again, because there's always something behind it.
Yes. Whether it's your children, your partner, your parents, even the people at work, when they come up with ideas, well, be curious about their ideas.
Yeah. At work, curiosity is critical.
Yes.
Because, you know, at work we can get triggered on all sorts of planes, competitiveness, you know, we can have a fraud complex where we don't believe in ourselves. All these things get in the way and they spin our little heads out. And if you just stop the thinking and get curious, all of a sudden you're taken out of that.
Yeah.
So it's also another recovery method.
It is, because there's two schools of thought that certainly the tech companies I used to work at. One school of thought was everyone needs to be on board together, working in harmony together for anything to happen. Another school of thought was everyone needs to be competing with each other for everything to happen, for anything good to happen. Neither is necessarily all right, neither is necessarily all wrong, and you know, there are successful companies that have done both. But the curiosity about why do people come up with ideas, why do they respond to your ideas, I think is another important positive way for self-growth, is that if you come up with a great idea and you go and tell your boss, I've got this great idea, let's do X, Y, and Z, and they laugh at you or they turn it down or something else, be curious as to why. Ask them. It's okay to ask questions. You may not get the answer. But
right, apply your curiosity. Apply curiosity to their response to your curiosity and your imagination. Yeah. It creates a lot more creativity and a more room for growth, more opportunity for communication. Curiosity is a freaking awesome thing.
And it grows and grows. If you bring curiosity to a group and everyone in the group starts to get curious and starts to inhabit your way of being curious about things, it's amazing how fast transformation happens.
You know, if you think about the things that you like on the internet, like you're on Facebook and you're scrolling through things, what do you like? You like pictures of animals doing curious things, because they end up in funny positions. And I mean, that's, it's just a sweet expression of curiosity gets us into new situations.
And if you're reading the news and you're thinking, well, why are the news expressing something this way or that way? Be curious about what is being expressed.
And what are they trying to get you to think?
Yes.
And that's another, I mean, it's also a good way of not getting stuck in another person's belief system or your belief system. So actually being able to weed through to what's true for you. Yeah. Curiosity is a good way to do that as well.
You're watching the news person says, the moon has been shown to be made of yellow cheese, not green cheese. Well, there's a lot of resources out there to go and check. Is the moon made out of green cheese or yellow cheese? Be curious.
That's
Why
five
is that
curiosity.
Five curiosity.
Don't believe everything everybody tells you.
Be curious about it.
Yes, stay curious.
Yep.
Keep your perspective open. It's so important. Yeah. Why does somebody that you disagrees with you? What are they disagreeing with?
Yes.
That curiosity will take you into the place of understanding. Oh, they've been hurt. They've been hurt.
Or not supported. Or not honored.
Or not seen.
Yeah.
So behind our anger and our emotions are these experiences in life that land in our bodies. And when we get curious about how those are for others, we can have insights to do our own and also be more compassionate.
Yes.
So curiosity leads to compassion. Another really good side effect. Boy, curiosity is
everywhere.
Amazing.
It rocks, yeah.
So those are all the things that are possible for you if you are more actively using your curiosity. And sprinkle in a little wonder and a little awe from time to time, and the world gets just fascinating.
Yep. So from us for now, stay curious, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.